What's up everyone, I'm back, and today we received a brand new exotic shotgun, and of course I want to make some builds with it for you all. Straight up, the reason you're seeing a Titan build first is because I think this shotgun was specifically made for this playstyle. I will have a Warlock and Hunter build coming out later that is going to be centered around the shotgun as well, but I don't know if they're going to do it as well as the Titan, and that's because of a bunch of things that they have to amplify what it does. I'm not even just talking about things like damage increases and survivability increases, which it does have. I'm also pointing out that the Titan can literally change terrain and make the shotgun perform better. I'm going to go over all of this in the video, so definitely be sure to stick around. This is a build you're definitely going to want to try out, and I would highly recommend doing the mission so you can get it. And really quick, if you do need people to do this mission with or want to come hang out with our community, I do have a Discord server. I recently revamped the whole server, and one of my goals for 2025 is to make that server a lot more active. So if you are interested in joining that, all the links will be in the description, and I truly appreciate it. But without further ado, let's jump into one of the craziest and most fun Titan builds I've played in a while. All right, getting right into it, let's take a look at our brand new exotic shotgun, the Slayer's Fang. This has the exotic perk Night's Worn Sight. Dealing final blows to targets grants Night's Worn Sight. During that time, final blows grant true sight, reload speed, and precision damage is increased, and sub-munitions weaken targets. Now the sub-munitions is from Heart Piercer, so rounds from this weapon shatter into sub-munitions on impact, strong against overload champions. So the way this shotgun's going to work is basically you can shoot it, then it's going to basically blow up into like a little cluster effect. Kind of reminds me of Scatter Arrow from Hanzo and Overwatch from way back in the day. But you can use this, just shoot an enemy, you can shoot the ground with it, and it's just going to shoot projectiles everywhere. It also kind of is like Sleeper Simulant a little bit, but honestly a little bit better. These sub-munitions can weaken targets if you do have the Night's Worn Sight up, and all you have to do to get that up is get a kill, so you're literally going to have it up all the time. But on top of all that, you are getting that reload speed. You can get true sight, which is kind of gimmicky in PvE, but I guess it is nice to see where your enemies are coming from because you can see them through walls. But you also get that increased precision damage, and with all that tied together, it also gets an overload champion. So this thing can absolutely shred, and it's also just good for ad clear as well, because the sub-munitions can go out and kill other enemies, and they will also proc things like volatile rounds, since they technically are counting as weapon damage, and you can absolutely kill a whole entire battlefield with this one shotgun if you do get lucky enough with the sub-munitions in like 2 to 3 shotgun shots. That's very strong on its own, but that's also very good at preserving its ammo economy, and then you can have that extra ammo to take out single targets as well. Now I'm not going to lie to you, this build is very strong. You can even go into a GM with this and pretty much survive solo. However, if you do ever run out of shotgun ammo, the loop of this build definitely goes down a ton. It is very reliant on you having special ammo, so you want to be able to get as much special ammo as possible. So that is just something to be aware of. I know that may draw some of you away from the build, and that's totally fair, but when you do have special ammo, this build absolutely cooks. But now to further enhance the Slayer's Fang, we're also going to be taking another exotic called the No Backup Plans. This has the exotic perk Force Multiplier. While you have a Void super equipped, rapid shotgun final blows or defeat a powerful combatant with a shotgun will grant a Void overshield and start health regeneration. While you have a Void overshield, shotguns deal additional damage, and shotgun final blows refresh the overshield. Provides a moderate benefit to shotgun airborne effectiveness and reload speed. So obviously that is a whole paragraph of what this exotic does, but to sum it up, this is basically just going to buff your shotguns like crazy. Since our main exotic and gameplay loop of this is going to be based around a shotgun, this is a no-brainer to take. So whenever you get rapid kills, now you can get a Void overshield. Once you have that Void overshield, you will start health regeneration alongside also increasing your shotgun damage by 35%. And then every time you get a shotgun kill while you have an overshield up, it will actually refresh the overshield and also refresh the duration of it. This just means pretty much once you have an overshield, you're permanently going to have one, so that means you're permanently going to get that 35% damage increase. And with one of the changes to Void overshields, they actually have even more damage resistance than what they did before, so you become very tanky. And then if that wasn't enough, you do also get increased airborne effectiveness for the shotgun, which is nice. If you are rushing, you can just jump and make sure you do secure a kill, but you also are going to get increased reload speed as well, since you're going to have to reload the shotgun a good amount. This paired with some other additional things, you're going to be able to speed reload the Slayer's Fang extremely quick. So overall, this exotic not only makes you more tanky, have a higher survivability rate, but you're also getting that 35% increased damage and that reload speed, and even the airborne effectiveness, which is nothing to sleep on. It buffs your Slayer's Fang like crazy, and it can even play into your subclass. And talking about subclasses, let's jump into how we're going to amplify everything with it. We're going to be playing Void. However, if you do want to take Prismatic, there probably is some setups you can go for this, but I think it works better with Void based around some artifact perks that we have. And Void is going to be very good as well because you do have access to Ward of Dawn. The reason Ward of Dawn is so good in this build is because you're going to be rushing a lot, so you could just pop this down, you become pretty much unkillable. You're going to be able to spam these a lot as well, but on top of all that, you will also get a Void Overshield, which obviously will play into no backup plans, and you can just slay out with this Slayer's Baron. The other really cool benefit, kind of what I was talking about earlier with changing terrain around, is the fact that if you do shoot the Slayer's Fang inside the bubble, all of the submunition projectiles actually will just bounce around the bubble because they have nowhere else to go, and you can just kill any enemy that runs in that bubble extremely quick. It is extremely fun to just rush with the bubble. If someone chases you in, you can literally just shoot the ground. If you want to shoot the enemy, you can as well, and just see all the projectiles fly around you. This even works in things like taking blights. Any enclosed area, it is just disgusting the amount of projectiles that can just form in that one little area, and the fact that the Titan can literally use its super to make one of those areas, I think is another great reason why Titan was made for the shotgun. It's something just so fun about rushing 24/7 with the shotgun, obviously having survivability from no backup plans, but if you're ever in any sticky situation, you could also just throw a Ward of Dawn down and you're pretty much unkillable. Now that rushing playstyle also gets even better because we could take Unbreakable. Now this has a lot of text. I'm going to sum it up for you. Basically, you can pull your grenade out, charge your grenade. While it's charging, you're going to get a smaller overshield, which again will play into no backup plans. But as you're taking damage, it's basically going to store some of that damage, and then you can release the grenade and kill enemies with that grenade. The more damage you absorb, the more damage it does. But even if you don't absorb that much damage, it's just great to have an overshield on demand, while also just being able to get a grenade kill on demand because that will play into some of our fragments. Again, this really does help out with the rushing playstyle. You can just run around with the shotgun, constantly get kills over and over again. You have your grenade for your survivability as well, and on top of that, you also have your Ward of Dawn. This will also further play into, again, no backup plans and even some of the fragments. It's very, very good with this build, and you're going to have permanent devour, so you're just going to get it all the time. But then the other aspect that's going to help out both Unbreakable and Ward of Dawn is actually going to be offensive bulwark. So while you have an overshield or inside of Ward of Dawn, your grenade charge is significantly faster. You have increased melee range and damage, and melee final blows restore a small portion of your overshield and extends its duration. You gain a distance shield throw while in sentinel shield. So now, since you're going to have an overshield all the time, you're getting increased grenade cooldown rate, which again plays further back into Unbreakable. But on top of that, if you're in a Ward of Dawn, you also get that grenade cooldown rate, and then with both of those as well, you're also getting increased melee range and damage. This is nice since you're already in shotgun distance. If your shotgun doesn't kill an enemy, you can use a melee to get a kill. This will extend your overshield again as well, and it all just synergizes effortlessly together. Now for your melee, it's honestly up to you. I take shield throw just so I can kind of get an overshield at range on demand. If you want to take shield bash, you can totally do this as well. This can stun overloads, but your shotgun can already stun overload, so it's not really that big of a deal. But if you want to just take this, you can, whichever melee. They're both work fine because they both grant an overshield. For class ability, I do like to take a Rally Barricade because it does have a lower cooldown, but honestly, if you want to take Towering Barricade, because just like Ward of Dawn, you can actually shoot the barricade as well if the projectiles kind of get blocked. So I'm sure there's some certain angles you can place a barricade and just absolutely lay down on an enemy with all the projectiles. But I do just take Rally Barricade because we are going to be playing into our armor mod that really benefits from you spamming your class ability, and this just has a smaller cooldown. Now for the fragments, I'm going to kind of go out of order here so you have a better understanding of how this is going to work, but we're going to be taking Echo of Instability, so whenever we get a grenade kill, we will be granted volatile rounds to our void weapons. Unbreakable will actually proc Echo of Instability, so now that means your Slayer's Fang is getting volatile rounds, and on top of that, those submunitions can also grant volatile rounds, so you can basically just have volatile everywhere. And then next up for our fragments is actually going to be Echo of Cessation. So whenever we get a finisher final blow, we'll make enemies around that finished target volatile, but on top of that, whenever we defeat a volatile target, we'll make a void breach. So now Echo of Instability is playing into Echo of Cessation. We can make void breaches, and the way we're going to take advantage of void breaches is going to be with Echo of Starvation. So picking up a void breach or an orb of power grants Devour. This is going to be great because we're going to make orbs all the time. This just means we're also going to make void breaches all the time. Void breaches can also play into our artifact, we're going to have permanent devour 24/7, which again is going to grant you even more grenade energy and give you health on kill. And then getting kills with the shotgun again can also grant some of the health generation, but that doesn't matter too much because you have devour, but you also get the overshield. So every time you're getting kills, you're just getting overshields and you're just getting health. You're literally unkillable. And then finally, since this is going to be a very aggressive build, we're going to be taking Echo of Reprisal. So final blows that surround it will grant us super energy. This is going to be a way you can spam Water Dawns. I'm not even trolling you. This fragment is absolutely disgusting with this build. The amount of supers you get just by constantly killing enemies like crazy with the shotgun, and again, some of our armor mods will also help out with that, but you literally get your super just ridiculously fast. You can use your Water Dawn almost like another ability. It's not as fast as your abilities, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna try to lie to y'all to make it sound better, but you do get it very, very quickly compared to other supers, and it is honestly crazy, again, just with how it synergizes with everything in the build and the fact that you can kind of, you know, alter the terrain for the Slayer's Fang. And then one thing I forgot to mention with the Slayer's Fang is that if you do have the catalyst, it's honestly up to you. None of these matter too much. I do like to take Repulsor Brace just because it makes keeping the overshield up extremely easy. You do get the overshield with no backup plan, so I understand if you want to take it off and maybe take something like Loose Change or Stats for All, that could be fine. Even Cascade Point, I guess, if you're using it in like some sort of DPS situation. But I like Repulsor Brace because it just takes the worry away of having to keep that overshield up. Again, since we are getting volatile rounds, this will count as a void debuff to proc Repulsor Brace. And if you do have Nightsworn Sight up, you can also weaken enemies, which will also count as a debuff, so you can proc Repulsor Brace. So between the Repulsor Brace alongside no backup plans, you literally have an overshield all the time. Like, you just don't have to stress about it. But again, if you want to swap it off for something like Stats for All, Loose Change, that could totally work as well. But you already get a ton of reload speed with this build as well, so I don't really know if you need those. So Cascade, if you're feeling that, go for that. It's totally up to you, but I would definitely go with Repulsor Brace just so you don't have to stress about it. But now for the artifact, we actually did receive some new artifact perks with this act as well. We also going to take advantage of some older ones too. But first things first, let's get the newer ones out the way. We have Frenzied Hunger, so rapid final blows while Devour is active will grant bonus to reload and handling. We are obviously getting increased reload speed because of no backup plans. Now we will also have Devour with Echo of Starvation, so now we're just going to get even more reload speed, and the handling is great for rushing around with the shotgun. Next up is just going to be a Void Renewal. So while Devour is active, Void Weapon Final Blows have a chance to generate a Void Breach. This is great, again, since we're constantly using the Void Weapon, we can make a Void Breach with that. We can also make a Void Breach with Echo of Cessation. That is going to be very well to get our class ability back and also give us Devour with Echo of Starvation, and to also play into Old God's Right. So after picking up a Void Breach, dealing damage with a Void Weapon creates a rain of seeking projectiles. This is very nice. This does exactly what it says. Whenever you pick the Void Breach up, you're literally going to spawn this like hovering thing that will just go down and shoot on enemies. So between that and the sub munitions from Slayer's Fang, the act clear is just absolutely ridiculous, and all you have to do to proc this is pick a Void Breach up. And then if that wasn't enough, this is an old one, but we can also take Supernova. So whenever we pick a Void Breach up, our next instance of void damage will actually cause a weakening pulse. The shotgun on its own can weaken, but now any void damage we do in just the initial shot, if we don't have Nightsworn Sight proc, can also weaken now, so that's very, very nice. And then we can also take things like Power from Pain, so rapid final blows against weakened combatants will grant you Devour. This is just nice to have if you don't have an orb to pick up. Sometimes you could just get Devour, which is nice, but I wouldn't stress about this one too much. Even if you want to take something else, you could, but in all honesty, it's just again a nice little benefit, kind of like Repulsor Brace, just so you can take some of the stress away of not having to keep everything up so permanently. You can just kind of passively do it. And then the final one that matters a lot is honestly the thick of it. So rapid final blows while surrounded will actually grant you an armor charge. Since we're always going to be surrounded, we're going to have permanent armor charge, which is going to play heavy into our armor mods, and it is honestly very, very good with this setup. But now speaking of armor, these are the stats that you like to run. I do go with 100 resilience to get that increased 30% damage reduction, alongside increase our cooldown for our class ability, and then 100 discipline as well, so I can just spam my unbreakables a lot more often. And then whatever you have left, I just like to go into strength just so I can use my melee to grant myself an overshield if I ever need it, because again, any overshield granted will get the damage increase from no backup plans, even if it's a little small overshield. The shield throw will grant it, the unbreakable grant it, so your melee grenade grants it, and then on top of that, obviously just getting shotgun kills can also grant it, so the stats just kind of help out with all that. But now these are the armor mods I'm running if you would like to copy them down. Starting off with the helmet, I do like to take a harmonic siphon so rapid void weapon final blows can make an orb of power. Since your shotgun can quite literally kill multiple enemies with one shot, you're going to be making orbs all the time. Picking those orbs up will also grant you devour. It is very, very good. On top of that, it also grants you armor charge. Next up is special ammo finder. This is a no-brainer since we're going to be using a ton of special ammo. This is just nice so you can get even more special ammo to use for the shotgun. And then on top of that, we do take a dynamo so we can reduce our super cooldown whenever we use our class ability near targets. This is what I was talking about. We're going to be rushing a lot. You're going to get your class ability back a lot. You might as well pop your class ability every now and then, not only to change the terrain for Slayer's Fang, but now you get even more super energy to spam those Ward of Dawns. Now, next up for our arms, I do like to take a harmonic loader so I can increase the reload speed of our void weapons. Again, with no backup plans, you're already getting increased reload speed. This is helping out with that. With our artifact perks, the Devour is also giving you reload speed. You can speed reload the Slayer's Fang. It's actually ridiculous. And Slayer's Fang also on its own will grant reload speed too. Now, next up is just bolstering detonation and moment of transfer. So this will just give me class ability and melee cooldown whenever we deal damage to the grenade. There's nothing else really to take care that's super important. So whenever we use Unbreakable, we can also just benefit for our other abilities. And getting the extra class ability is great because again, that can help proc Dynamo. Now for our chest piece, I just run all resistant mods. You can swap this out for whatever content you're going into. This is pretty much what you should just always run. And then for our boots, I do like to take triple void weapon surge. This is great because again, we are going to have the thick of it, so we're going to permanently have armor charge. Again, pairing that with all the orbs that I'm making, you literally will just always have this damage increase. So between the no backup plans 35% you're getting, you're also going to be getting additional 22% that will stack, and your shotgun can just absolutely slay enemies. And then to help out with that, we are also going to be taking time dilation, so our decaying armor charge just lasts a little bit longer. So now these weapon surges will just last longer. Again, you don't have to worry about it too much. You could even take this off and you would be totally fine with the amount of armor charge you do get, but it's just nice to have if there's ever a chance you don't get an armor charge. But then also powerful attraction, so whenever we use our class ability, we can pick orbs up again. Those orbs will grant us armor charge, super energy, everything that we've already went over. Devour as well, and since we can spam our class ability a lot because we want to get super energy with Dynamo, we can now just pick the orbs up. And then every time we use our class ability with Bomber, we will get grenade cooldown back. And like up here with our arms, we use our grenade to get class ability cooldown. Now we can use our class ability to get grenade cooldown. Everything just synergizes extremely well together. That is pretty much the build. Let me know what you all think about it in the comments down below. This is for sure some of the most fun I've had on my Titan in a while. Just being able to rush, not really having to worry about survivability, constantly getting these buffs, having a lot of supers to use if you need them as well. It's a ton of fun. I don't think this is going to overtake the Consecration Slam Titan build by any means, but if you want to switch things up and use some of the new gear that we do have, this is definitely something I would recommend trying out. It's a ton of fun. You can take this into pretty much any content in the game and it will do you well. And since Slayer's Fang does have intrinsic overload, it is a nice little benefit now because overload champions, in my opinion, are the worst champions in the game. They're the most annoying and this can absolutely shred them. Anyways though, that's going to do it all for me. I wish you all the best of luck in putting this build together for yourself. Again, if you need someone to do the mission with, definitely be sure to head over to the Discord. All the links will be down below. I want to thank you all so much for watching and I hope you all have a great day. Peace.